Hey everybody, this is Z Tanoko.
And I'm Richard Reeves.
You're listening to Leading with Insight. Join us as we explore the latest trends, insights, and strategies for people who love leadership.
Get ready to unlock your full potential and take your career to the next level. Welcome to another exciting episode of Leading with Insight. Today we're going to be shaking things up a bit as we have a few of our interns joining us here to tell us all about their insights during their internship. Today we'll be discussing and unpacking how they have developed their personal brand and professional network here. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Z so he can explain a little bit more about the internship program.
Yeah, before we do that, I want to give Rich a big shout out. You were here solo last time.
I
Totally
was.
crushed it with Javier Arias.
Thank you.
Great interview, by the way.
Thank you.
Kind of nervous now. I don't think I'm going to be here anymore. I think I'm going to take a break for a while. But no, phenomenal job, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I was at a state. I was in New York for the Thayer Leadership Program. We've talked about that last year as well. It's every June. Amazing experience, a lot of good leadership insight, but also application. And can't wait to talk more about that in future episodes. But today is about our next generation leaders. And this June, we have, again, another big wave of interns. And by the way, just a couple fun facts. The internship program is about 10 weeks. It does include various different things, a lot of trainings and hands-on, both professional and personal development. But also they get some roundtable and FaceTime with some of our executives, and even I believe the founder of Insight, one of the brothers of Insight. So pretty cool stuff. And they're going to tell us a little bit about their experience. But also today's episode is about if you're looking to join a organization or a company, what are some things that you want to consider during your internship? Personal brand, how to start that early, as that's our theme. And the last one is for leaders that are, again, leading interns. What are some best things or things that we can do to set them up for success? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So with that, let's get to meet our interns. So welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So if you don't mind, one at a time, just tell us your name, what's your intern position here, and then what university you attend.
Yeah, my name's Abby Nava. I am the Leadership and Team Development Intern, and I go to the University of Idaho.
My name is Marcello Borromeo. I'm a digital and operations intern, and I attend Arizona State University.
My name is Cassie English. I also attend Arizona State University, and I'm a marketing operations intern.
Fantastic. So I got to give Cassie always give me a hard time. So when we had a workshop, Presentation Advantage, by the way, y'all did amazing. Seeing your growth and development during that time. But Cassie was always kind enough, but also corrected me, it's Cassie, not Casey. And I'm just yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. And that's what I was I was practicing on my way here. I got to say it right.
It shines. It shows.
So before we go into some of the questions that we will have planned, tell us so far, what's been the highlight of your internship here at Insight? If you want to go first, Marcello.
Great question. So the highlight of my internship so far has definitely been the team building and the public events we have here on Wednesdays. Just recently, we had a beach themed partner event. We had partners come over. We got to network for a bit. This was great exposure for interns and students currently in college. You sort of get that piece of doing hard work with your department, but also having a good time talking to other companies. So that's awesome. My highlight.
Yeah, I mean, a beach theme coming in. You probably got a towel. Who knows? Right? Sunscreen.
Yeah, give it to my dog.
The bare necessities you need to survive the Arizona heat. So you go to ASU, so you're familiar with the heat a little bit, not accustomed to it yet.
Not yet. So I was born in Spokane, Washington. I lived in the Philippines for a bit.
Yeah.
Then I came here for middle school, high school, and eventually college. So despite having lived here for just a little longer than some other students at ASU, I'm still not used to it. So
yeah. Speaking of another ASU student here, but not from here as well, Cass, tell about your highlights so far.
Yeah, not to suck up to my hosts here today, but I do think the Presentation Advantage workshop was one of the highlights so far. I used to do theater in high school, and it was just such a fun way for me to reconnect to that because I haven't done a lot of speaking publicly in college. And it was also a great excuse for me to share something that I'm really passionate about, something I really like doing. So I just feel like I learned a lot. It was a great excuse to get away from work for a little bit and do something fun and then go back to work.
Get some of that development, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Of course.
Totally sucking up. You're my
I'm
favorite
sorry.
right now. Abby, what's been your highlight?
I would say my highlight is just being able to be in office and get that hands-on experience. Obviously, I'm not from here. This is my first summer ever being here. So coming from Idaho, it's a little bit different, but I think just the opportunity to be here and get that hands-on experience and be able to meet people in person has been really beneficial and probably the highlight.
The highlight. I think the highlight for me is that you actually educated us that potatoes is not the only thing that Idaho's
I like that
It's true.
reputation.
Wow.
It's true. It's not the only thing.
I didn't know
As you
that.
might believe, it's not.
It's not. There's more than just
There
potatoes in
is.
Idaho. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I'm just kidding.
Like, okay, well, like I got a
wow.
5-minute presentation if you'd
I
like to
know.
see it.
That would-
No.
do we have- cue the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Like, blow it up.
Well, so all of my questions will be directed at the ASU students because ASU.
Works up, works up.
No, but no, bringing it back to you were mentioning the networking event. Just to kind of go back to that, can you share us a few tips that maybe you have around networking now that you've experienced Insight,
Sure.
and maybe how it's helped you grow your personal brand and professional network?
Great question. So I'll start with one point I always bring to every experience, whether it's from work or in school or sport. Taking initiative. Initiative should be the rock of what every college student or any student in general should do. For me, it's sort of been the reason why all these experiences snowball and why I'm able to have that confidence and talk to other people like outside of my department. So, for example, my manager encouraged me to talk to 8 people outside of my department. It was very challenging, a bit overwhelming for my first time. That was in my first 2 weeks. So I'm glad she did that though. It accustomed me easier to sort of like the culture and what the people are like here in Insight. It's given me like a better, more holistic view of the business, you could say, outside of marketing.
That's great. I love that. And it's funny, it reminds me when we did the event at Mastery, was it last year? I challenged him. I go, dude, you're here. Go talk to at least 5 people, 5 leaders you haven't met with. And that's a great starting point, right? As a leader, if you have, next generation leaders or you have new teammates, start to help them, encourage them to go and branch out and get to meet new people. What about yourself, Cassie?
I would honestly second that. I think my manager didn't go that extreme with me. It wasn't like these 8 people
There's
in
8.
2 weeks. They gave me lists of like potential people that I would like to reach out to. But whereas in other experiences, I've had like managers set up those calls for me. It was more like, you do this, like in your time. It was very much left up to me, and I really appreciated that because it put the onus on me. Like you said, like taking that initiative is something that I'm working on in myself, and I think we all are as students. So being able to do that and just the different conversations that have come out of those, you never know what you're going to talk about in
I
those
love
chats.
that. Gave you the autonomy, basically. But even if, let's say, you're an introvert, or that some of us might have a difficult time with kind of getting out there, maybe that challenge, but also maybe a warm introduction, right? Like
Right.
walking around, introducing you to people.
Yeah.
I got to give Cassie credit. After the presentation event, and she reached out and she's like, Beth, I really took a lot of this training. So even just reaching out and acknowledging somebody for what a presentation they did or something like that really goes a long way, and it leaves a mark, right?
Yeah.
Like a positive mark. So just wanted to call that out.
Thank you.
And I was just kidding, Abby. You can definitely
I'm like, I'll just
I
wait my
was like-
turn. No, just kidding. No, I agree with everything they said. I also think just being aware that it's like everyone wants to see you succeed here, and everyone's so nice and welcoming, and going out of your comfort zone and making those conversations and connections with people, even if they're not in your direct team. Like everyone's here for you, and they want you to be like the most successful that you can be, and everyone is so open to talk to you. And meeting people from other departments has really opened my eyes, like, oh, this sounds really interesting. I never even knew this existed. So being able just to like take that initiative and be like, I know that I might just be an intern, but they don't see you as that. They see you as an equal, and I think that speaks a lot about the company.
So I wonder if it's like, when everybody's gonna have different internship experiences, right? The companies they go to and the leaders they report to. I remember going back to my first internship a long time ago. I didn't know those tips, man. I was just like, I got there, right? First of all, I didn't get paid, which I was like, dude, what the heck? I would like to get paid for these hours. But that aside, I'm not bitter, by the way. Is that I would just head down doing my work, whatever work was given to me. Again, kind of going back to the way I was raised. But if I would have taken that time and really maximized, get my work done, but then also spend that time to network, get to know people, go out of my comfort zone, who knows, right? Where that would have taken me. But again, I'm here today. I'm good. But that is the thing that if you can start early, that's so powerful. Yeah. What other tips do y'all have? Like if you're going to give a new intern coming in to an organization, what is some things that you would have loved to have? What information or tips would you have loved to have received in the beginning that you know now?
Of course. So I'd like to start off with learning how to advocate for yourself. So a lot of college students may not have that track record of like delivered successes at previous companies, and they're competing with a lot of students who don't have those same experiences. So sort of that last mile you have to go as an intern and a student is learning how to be your own person to talk about yourself. This can look like a lot of things. For me personally, it's learning how to tell good stories. You can tell good stories about yourself, where you've been, what you're doing now, what you hope to do in the future. And that's how I personally got to this position. I got rejected the first time from one position, the data science position. Then I talked to the recruiter, and then she said, okay, well, we can plug you in with someone else. And by that time, I'd already like solidified what sort of made me competitive in that role. My personal brand, personally, is that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And so with that, like, I try to gather interest and find ways I can like embody that.
That's amazing. Going back to our storytelling thing too, right? I mean, I'm glad that you're starting off with already knowing that, right? Because it's one of those things that as your career progresses, you start, not many people like really implemented that or even think about, I need to work on my storytelling. I need to collect these stories or these things. Even if you haven't had a lot of experience, you still have stories. I mean, since you were born, you have a story, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, hit the nail on the head, right? Especially with a lot of things that we've been discussing leading up to this episode, storytelling, just being able to communicate effectively and efficiently, and enjoying your time here, right? The whole networking piece, right? Is there any one particular thing that you can think of that maybe has, helped out your networking experience here?
I think the encouragement from my managers to branch out and not just feel like I need to be doing every single thing that they have in mind for me. Like, it wasn't like they came into this with like, this is your day to day, everything that you're doing. It was very much, what do you want to do? And from there, I've been able to see which aspects of the company interest me most. And that helps me figure out who I want to talk to most. So having that encouragement from my managers, who are very much like the mindset of, if you don't ask, you're not going to know. So might as well just ask. The worst thing that they can say is no. And just go out and try. Yeah.
I like the partnership there. It's not just
Right.
here's what you're doing, here's your whatever your 8 hours and stuff, and it's mapped out. That'd be kind of boring, right? So
Yeah.
it seems like you have a lot of freedom,
Mhm.
and you kind of map your own
Yeah.
trajectory of what you want to do with your
Yeah.
time. That's awesome.
It's been great.
I would agree with what Cassie said. I also think just knowing that like we are here for 10 weeks and it goes by so fast, like it's already gone by so fast. So just knowing like if you want to make those connections, don't wait till tomorrow. Like what's wrong with today? So just go out and do it because these 10 weeks are going to fly by. They already have. And so I feel like also I've met with a bunch of different people on my team and they have been so encouraging to meet with other people and be like, are you interested in this? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, talk to this person and this person. So I feel like even just talking in your own team can help you make all those other connections, which has been really cool.
So it sounds like your leaders so far have had some kind of plan, but it's not fixed so much that there's no flexibility and opportunity. So it seems like there's a nice balance of both. Because what would have happened if you would have joined, let's say, an internship and there was like no plan, like you're just sitting there going, I don't know, they have no idea what to do or what to have you do. How would that feel, right?
Yeah. Be a lot of personal advocacy, which is hard, as Marcello said. Yeah.
Especially I feel like when you join a company and you have no idea what you're doing, it doesn't give you that like courage and
Yeah.
strength to go make those
You don't even know
connections. You're
what
like,
to
I feel like I
ask.
don't have a voice.
Yeah.
So I feel like not knowing anything would be really stressful.
Yeah, already a stressful situation and awkward. It just makes it even more, right? Were you gonna say something, Chella? It looks like.
Yeah, it's a great time for interns this summer, 2024, just because like the marketing team got a lot of like leadership rearrangement. There's a lot of projects going on, so there's always something to do outside of our current role.
That's cool. Yes, I mean you never know when you're gonna what type of team, what type of dynamic you're gonna enter in. So take advantage of it. Like it's something you're gonna learn something. That's awesome.
Sounds like these three would be more than okay if their leader didn't have a plan for them. They're go-getters. I can see
Try.
that.
They'll figure it
Yeah,
out,
yeah, yeah.
right?
We'll all hang out.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But even then, let's like talk about you've been interacting with a lot of interns this year, and plus not only in the office, right, but like remote. What are this is kind of I wish I could ask them more than this in any question, but let's say if you were working remotely in an internship, if maybe if you have in the past, but what would be some things that you would appreciate from your leader if you did work fully remote? What are some things that would help you be engaged, get the most out of your internship if you were in a remote setting?
I did have an internship last summer that was fully remote. More on my choice than anything. I didn't want to pay rent at somewhere else, so I lived with my parents. Shout out to my parents. Thank you for letting me stay with them.
Shout out.
Um, but no, I think what my manager did during that internship that was really great and helpful for me was she did have more of a solid plan than I think my managers here did. And that was helpful for a remote intern when I'm sitting in my bedroom and I could very easily just sit in my bedroom all summer. And she knew that, thankfully, because she went in prepared of like, these are who you need to talk to, this is what you're going to be doing. And it wasn't like day by day still, but it was a lot more structured than it has been here. And that
That
was
makes
helpful.
sense though, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely need that more because you don't have the freedom of like, hey, how's it
Right.
going? Or over you over there. You like, you have to reach out
Yeah.
or I am and when they're available. So that structure does help. So that
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. So I guess we're talking about some adversities. Has there been any challenges so far? It doesn't have to be here, or it could be, but any challenges or difficulties in internships that you've experienced that you had to overcome or that you had to figure out on your own that were challenging or difficult?
I would say just kind of like the hybrid style, because sometimes if like being able to work remote but also be in person, it's like you come in person and maybe the person you're wanting to meet with isn't here. So just being able to be like, okay, I need to message them, but also being comfortable with Teams and being know that it's okay if you message someone and they don't respond right away. They're probably busy. They're probably in a meeting. They're not just ignoring you. So I feel like just being okay to know that people have very limited time and that people are busy. So it's not like all on you to be like, oh my gosh, I have to wait until they're free, because sometimes they might never be. But also coming in office has been really beneficial for me because I feel like I get more out of it. And it's okay if I'm like, if no one in my team is here, like that's okay. And it's okay to just work on my own and get things done.
Yeah, well, opportunity to network, right?
Mhm.
Or do what you have. Yeah, any other challenges maybe that you've experienced that you had to overcome?
Sure. So for me, definitely not knowing enough about a subject or about like some sort of expertise to ask the right questions to sort of get that conversation going. It's very hard for me, especially for example, we'll take last week, tried reaching out to like the data and Gen AI team here. This was of my own choice. I found them on Outlook and just saw what they did. So, okay, this seems really cool. So I sort of just cold messaged them. I didn't really get much of a reply other than like, hey, if there's like anything like you know about the subject, like, you can bring it up with like someone else. So with that in mind, sort of not knowing enough about something can be a barrier, especially like for me as an intern. I'm still a student. But really my only solution to that is keep doing it, right? Just keep those conversations going.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like getting enough information so it starts you off on the right foot, but also giving you that opportunity to find it on your own, which is kind of rewarding. Would you say, like, if you're like, oh my gosh, I figured it out, but not where you're completely in the dark, where you're just like, I have no clue where I'm going. Now I feel bad that they're waiting for something or they're expecting something, and I'm just like not given any information. So it seems like a balance, just enough, but you can to figure it out and it feels good. Is that what I'm hearing?
Definitely. Also, in addition to that, not feeling like a bother to some like teammates who are doing very important things. Like for the director of marketing, like I reached out to her, Andrea Winkle. I said, "Hey, I saw like the new playbook we have for the last half of the year. Is there a way like we can have a conversation, like exchange some thoughts?" But I saw like she's pretty booked up and like, it took her a while to get back to me. She's doing a lot. So sort of that I'm still getting around and sort of like the emotional intelligence around that too.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Back to what we said. Just because they're not responding doesn't mean that they don't care or whatever. They just, it gets, who knows what that inbox looks like. Right. But I love that. It's like, hey, being understanding and kind of continue to be persistent in a professional way, not be too much. Yeah. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
No, that's amazing. Having that fortitude just to
Yeah.
be, keep forging on, right? Like you may not get a response the first time. Okay, try again. You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. People are very busy around here. We're doing a lot of great things. There's a lot of moving parts. So just keep reaching out, being consistent, and I promise those type of things will pay off. Trust me. And they don't go unnoticed either. But one thing I want to ask that's a bit off topic is, so you mentioned The Office. Tell me what your thoughts are on The Office here.
Yeah, I personally love being in person, and I didn't think this was gonna be an opportunity just because I don't live here, like I said. But being able to come in and like be surrounded by everyone that's just working and like everyone like going towards like a same common goal has been so encouraging for me to like work hard and like to put my best effort forward instead of, like Cassie said, sitting at home. You can get very distracted and you can just kind of zone out and kind of not pay attention. So like last week, presentation advantage, like that was really good to have in person because then it like kind of forced you to pay attention, and I feel like I got a lot more out of it than I would if I was remote. And remote, it just takes that extra effort to like pay attention and stay on topic. But I love coming in office, and I feel like it's a very good environment to be in.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I feel like I spend a lot of time doing like work from home because both my managers are remote, so I don't necessarily need to be in the office, but it is like so nice to just be here. It's a beautiful space. There's so many plants. It's so bright. Like it just makes me happy. It makes me feel more productive. And I am more productive. I am doing work all the time. Marcello walked past my desk earlier today. I didn't even notice him because he was like, I was just so locked into what I was
I
doing.
tried saying hi twice when she was in the meeting. I was like, okay.
Zoned.
She's like, I'm in the
Locked in.
Yeah,
zone.
I don't know.
Locked in.
But let me follow up. Let me follow up on this one. So again, which is a leadership podcast. Have during your internship, have you learned any leadership, skills or anything during your internship here? And if you have, if you don't mind sharing what they have been or what they are.
Sure. So one thing I really like about Insight that I haven't really found anywhere else, I'm sure it exists anywhere else, but Insight really reminds me that people really are just people. So sure, it's a big company, there's a hierarchy of like leadership and responsibilities, but my manager made it very clear, it's like, hey, Marcello, you're not working for me, you're working with me, basically. And so she puts me on that same level of like responsibility as like a normal full-time teammate would be, keeping me accountable, but also giving me the confidence to do a good job.
That's awesome. Talk about that executive presence and all these things, right? Like it's like we can't. A leader really brings energy, right? Gets energy from you instead of depleting it. Because when you look at old movies, I imagine that you've seen when you think of a leader, like an executive walking down the aisle, you're like, oh man, they're intimidating and stuff. Hopefully, you haven't experienced that here, but I don't think that's the case anymore, man. Maybe back then it might have been, but not no more,
I
right?
don't know. He's pretty intimidating, but
Yeah, I agree. No, just kidding.
no, what I will say is that, that servant leader mindset is really key here, and it's something that really shines through, right? You'll meet a lot of different leaders and they'll all have a very common thread that runs throughout. And a lot of the great leaders here to do is that, I'm here for you. I'm here to develop you and help you progress in your career. And it's really, really amazing to be in that atmosphere and environment. So yeah, it's cool.
Anything else from anybody else?
Yeah, just kind of jumping off that, I feel like the leaders are really like in the trenches with you. Like they're going through all the hardships with you, and they're not there to like tell you what to do. They're there to do it with you and help you and watch you succeed instead of just running up the hill and leaving you behind. Like they're going to be right there with you, which I think as someone who has been in like a big work company like this is really like reassured me.
Yeah, I love that. Let me take it to the next here. So before you joined, working for internship for a company, and now experiencing it, can you tell me about your perception or your feelings going into it? Going, man, I'm almost gonna be done with school, about to enter this workforce. How did that feel? And now going through this internship, has it changed your feeling towards going to the workforce?
I think it's given me a lot of career validation above anything. I knew I would love Insight. I knew that, but I had just a marketing internship last summer, and I was like, I like this, but I want to do more in depth. And so marketing operations, marketing analytics is what I'm doing, and that's exactly what I'm studying in school. So I was like, if I don't like this, what I'm studying in school is not going to be good for me, but I love it. So it's like so validating, and it makes me feel very confident going into my senior year of college that
That's
I'm
awesome.
on the right path.
Good.
Yeah.
How about you, Cello?
Well, there are a few gaps I guess I had in like understanding what a real company, a big company is like. So being with Insight has like both reaffirmed that, yeah, we have hard work to do and we're all contributing to like big projects and stuff, but we know how to like have a good time and just like get along together. It's very organic too. So for example, I can tell that Insight's very intentional with sort of like their office spaces, both by like it's very collaborative, very open. The ceiling's very open. They also have like stations where you have like a golf putt too, just like. And earlier, one of the interns and I, in between at lunch, were playing darts. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
It's a
having
great
that
space.
balance, right? Yeah.
Sometimes that's where the best ideas come from, man. You got to
course.
step away from your desk
Yeah,
and
get that white space, that
Mhm.
yeah, take that pause.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. I feel like I've always heard great things about Insight, but it's like, is anyone really going to talk bad about their company if they want you to work here?
That's true.
So actually coming here and realizing that it is even better than what people have told me, it's really like, okay, people want me to be here. People are like, not going to give me a horrible job and be like, good luck. Like people are going to be nice and watch me succeed.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've been hearing from like the next generation, we've gone and done panel interviews and career development panels for different schools and stuff. One of the concerns that comes up is, hey, I want to work for a company that's not going to drain me or not give me that autonomy to enjoy my life too, because we're seeing from our parents or from our family members, our uncles, our aunts, how miserable they are, and that. Now, since you're here, I just want to kind of, I'm curious, like, did y'all have that same perception going into it as well, or seeing that? I just want to get your thoughts on, kind of what you're seeing that growing up and what you saw the workforce looking like for you in the future.
Yeah, I was worried. I mean, not necessarily about insight, but just about my future. Work-life balance is a very important thing. I like to phrase it as life-work balance more so than anything. And that's been something that I have been sure to ask in all of my coffee chats with people. It's just like, what has your work-life balance been? Because I know that it's going to look differently to different people, but I like to see, especially people who've been here for a long time, how they've kind of developed that through their lives. People who have kids, people who have things outside of work, because that'll be me in the future. And everyone has been very open to talking about it, and everyone seems to have a very healthy mindset about it, which is very nice to see here.
I agree with Cassie. Definitely just like the transparency around work-life balance, especially because Insight promotes both like hybrid and like remote. And so we have great talent from all over the world and the country being put towards Insight. And it's wonderful. So far, for all the coffee chats I've had, have only been like positive things.
Yeah, I also feel like when I was growing up, I thought a 9 to 5 would be I would be sitting in a little cubicle typing away from 9 to 5, no break, no interaction with anyone. And I was like, oh no, like I don't know if I want to do that for the rest of my life. But it's not like that. People are always talking, networking, and even being able to work from home and have that like, oh, and sometimes maybe you want to sit on the couch and do some work, and that's okay. But I feel like it's not like sitting and typing for 10 hours a day. It's very like go out, meet people, go to lunch with people. And I feel like that is really reassuring because I don't think I could sit in a cubicle for the rest of my life.
No, not at all. So I know we're getting towards the end. Maybe like maybe if all of you don't mind sharing one bit of advice, if you were to have like a good colleague or friend or peer that wants to join an internship, what advice would you give them going into an internship that would be a game changer for them?
I would say just be confident in yourself, and even if you don't have like a lot of background history in work or what you're even going into, just be confident. And it's better to show that you're interested and that you actually care rather than try to pull the random things and make it seem relevant. Like if you're going for a marketing intern and you try to talk about math and try to make it relevant, people are gonna be like, what? But if you start like, I don't have a lot of experience, but I'm so excited to get that experience, that will make you stand out a lot more.
Insight isn't looking for people to be who Insight is. They're looking for people to add to who Insight is. So that's one point of advice that I would offer. One way where you can sort of gauge that for yourself. If you're going to be a good fit for Insight or Insight a good fit for you, definitely work on that personal brand. I know that was sort of like the topic of today's discussion, like professional network and things like that. Working on being resourceful, articulating to other people what makes you competitive in a pool of people who won't go that last mile, basically. So each experience should snowball on each other. So, yeah.
Yeah, I second both of those things. I would say also, especially to people who are younger in their college career or even in high school, I think it's really easy to choose a path when you're 17 or 18 and go on that major and just stick to it. And then you graduate and you're in a job and you're like, oh, I don't like this. And I changed my major twice, like early on in my career, and it hasn't impacted my graduation date or anything like that. And I'm just so much happier now. So being able to take time a few years into college, a year into college, think, do I actually like this? Because I can pretend to like it all I want, but I don't want to pretend for the rest of my life. So like putting that genuine thought into it is going to be really helpful.
Awesome. Good advice.
Man, we've learned a lot of great things here today with our interns. Be your authentic self, have that go-getter mentality to just get things done. Definitely make those relationships throughout your work. You'll definitely learn a lot more along the way, right?
Yeah. Before we close out, just a quick plug in for our internship program. If you want more information, you can visit our insight.com career page. Again, when we do publish it, feel free to apply and get your foot in the door, just like these amazing interns. Also, a sneak peek. A little bird told me that we're gonna actually start expanding to Canada now, and of course, since we are global, we'll be having more and more opportunities, which is going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe and hit your notifications. Please turn those on so you get all of our content as soon as it releases. Thank you for joining us, and keep leading with insight.